Welcome everyone to the SNN Network Canada virtual event. I'm your host, Robert Kraft, and on behalf of SNN Network, I'd like to introduce our next presenters here at the event. Joining us virtually is Ken D'Entremont, CEO, and Marcel Conrad, CFO of Medexus Pharmaceuticals. It's a publicly traded company. I got two symbols for you, MDP on the TSX and MEDXF on the OTCQX. We're going to do this presentation a little bit differently. We're going to start off with about 10 minutes of presentation, and then once that's finished, we'll do a little informal Q&A while I'll pop back on the screen here. So with that, I'm going to throw it to Ken and Marcel. Guys, take it away.
Thanks, Robert. Thanks for the opportunity to present Medexus here today. Our forward-looking statements can be found on our website, which is at medexus.com. So Medexus is a commercially focused pharmaceutical company with products in the orphan drug rare disease space. We've got fully built out infrastructure in both the US and Canada, which produces about $80 million worth of revenue, and last year produced positive EBITDA. We've got about 16 products already in market that produces that revenue, and some really exciting products that are coming down the pipeline that give us the opportunity to more than double our revenue in the next few years. The company has got broad ownership. Management is aligned with shareholders. Management and board owns about 12% of the stock. So we're really, looking at a business that has got a good core product portfolio that produces good revenue, steady revenue, and has the opportunity to grow significantly over the coming years. And that clearly is our vision, is to create a company that is much larger than it is today. When we started this business in 2018, it was about $10 million in net revenue. Now we're about $80 million in net revenue and looking to grow much larger. So the growth in the business comes really from three channels. One obviously is organic growth of existing portfolio. I'll show you the full portfolio in a minute, but you can see that it's got good opportunity to continue to grow into the future. So organic growth is important. The way we construct the portfolio is through business development, whether that be licensing or M&A. We're always looking to add more products into the therapeutic areas where we already participate, which allows us to leverage our infrastructure and produce better returns as we go forward. And then finally, we do a little bit of product development. We don't do any true R&D, so there's no binary event in this business, but we do some product development in terms of improving the product label that gives us a better opportunity to promote our products in the marketplace. This is the infrastructure that's in place in terms of sales force. So you can see that we've got fully built out sales forces in both the US and Canada, calling on hematology, stem cell transplant, and autoimmune disease in the US. And then same thing in Canada with the addition of some primary care and allergists. So slightly larger sales force in Canada than in the US per capita. And that's purely because we've got a broader portfolio at this stage. About 75% of our revenue comes out of the US, and we expect the US to be a very strong growth driver with some of the products that we have in the pipeline. This is the portfolio that exists today. A couple of things to point out here. One is that much of our portfolio is very much in the growth phase, or we've just recently launched. So it will produce a contribution going forward. The four big products that we have are Rasuvo, Metoject, Ixinity, and Rupall, and I'll touch on those in a little more detail. And then we've got several new products that we're launching, some of which I will also discuss. Ixinity is one of the core products in our portfolio. It is a factor 9 for the treatment of hemophilia B. That's a rare disease. There's only 4,000 to 5,000 people in the US with hemophilia B. This basically replaces the factor that's missing from their blood that allows it to clot naturally or properly. It's an interesting product in that it's got a couple of clinical benefits relative to the competition that have allowed us to grow this to about $30 million in revenue, and we expect to grow quite a bit from there. That's a relatively small market share. Even at $30 million, it was still just about a 4% market share. So we have lots of opportunity to grow. We are just completing a clinical program that will add a pediatric indication to the label. That's about a 30% increase in market potential for the drug. Rupall is another core product in our portfolio. This is a prescription antihistamine in Canada. It treats seasonal allergies and urticaria, which is hives. And you can see the kind of unusual growth curve is related to the seasonality of allergies. So obviously a big spike in the spring and summer, and it tails off through the fall and winter, only to repeat that cycle again. So we've had excellent growth on this drug since its launch many years ago. And last year, MAT, September, it grew about 33%. So strong growth in this drug that we think will continue. Another core product in our portfolio is a product called treosulfan, where we have this license for both the US and Canada. It's a very exciting product for us because it's in an interesting therapeutic area. It's a conditioning agent for use prior to stem cell transplantation, a way to treat various types of blood-borne cancers, leukemia specifically. It's orphan drug also, which gives it 7.5 years exclusivity in the US as a result of being an orphan drug with a pediatric indication. It's got tremendous market potential in that the drug that is leading in this marketplace prior to the genericization did $126 million net revenue. And treosulfan, the drug we have, has got many advantages relative to that drug. So we think there's very strong market potential for treosulfan. It's currently going through the registration process in the US. The FDA had issued a CRL, I guess in August of this year, which we are responding to. We put news out just earlier this week about having a clear path to resubmission and then a decision point by the FDA, which we think will occur probably by October of 22. So we're less than a year out from a decision point on treosulfan, and we think, we hope that the decision will be positive. We got this drug approved in Canada through Health Canada just recently on an expedited process. It's also been approved throughout Western Europe. So we think that it's highly likely that it'll get approved in the US, and that will make a very strong market potential for us. It's an interesting drug in that it fits in a new niche within conditioning where it's very efficacious, it's very strong, but it has reduced toxicity. So it's safer than the drugs that are currently used. And when you compare it head to head with the busulfan, the drug I referenced earlier, which did $126 million at peak sales, the graph on the right shows that head to head, there's a 26% improvement in overall survival for AML and MDS patients, basically leukemia patients. So that strong survival makes us believe, one, that it should be approved, and two, that when it is approved, it will get strong uptake within the marketplace. The graph on the right demonstrates the overall survival in children. So we do expect to have a pediatric indication, and that's demonstrating 91% overall survival at 12 months. It's a very attractive market in that it's highly concentrated. There's only 174 institutions in all of the US that do stem cell transplants. About 80% of those transplants are done in 74 institutions. And the good news for us is that 41 of those already have some experience with treosulfan. So they understand the drug, they know the drug in many cases, and we do believe there will be quick uptake within those institutions. Another drug that we have is triamcinolone hexacetonide, both US and Canada, recently been fully approved and reimbursed in Canada, and soon to be going through the registration process in the US. It's the longest acting corticosteroid for various forms of arthritis, and the drug of choice for juvenile idiopathic arthritis, basically a type of arthritis that affects children. Other key products in our portfolio, Rasuvo, which is an auto-injector of methotrexate for the treatment of rheumatoid arthritis and psoriasis, has an 80% market share in the US, and so we've got a very strong share there, and we expect to continue that share. Medexus, basically the same product in Canada with a different brand name. Again, strong market share, is growing about 37%. And then recently we've launched Gleolan, which is a very innovative product that helps in the resection of brain tumors, basically glioblastoma, which is the most common form of cancerous brain tumor. It allows the neurosurgeon to do a more complete resection, which in turn leads to better survival. So another really exciting drug that we're just starting to market now, so we'll make a contribution in the future. Now I'm going to turn it over to Marcel to walk you through the most recent financial results.
All right, thank you, Ken. Yeah, so yeah, this is an exciting time to be at Medexus as an employee, and also for investors to look at the company. So I want to draw the attention first to the graph at the right hand, on the right hand side. This is a really growing company, strongly growing the last 2-3 years, triple in revenue. So if you focus on the most recent quarter we've just disclosed in November, we ended it with $17.9 million, which showed sequential growth quarter over quarter, and also versus prior year. We had a very good product sales from Rupall, for example, that drove that growth, and we're continue to expect that growth to go forward. Specifically, once we have worked through our IXINITY channel, which should get to normalized levels going forward. Our cash position is still at $9.7 million and available liquidity. We've had adjusted EBITDA of about $2 million. We stopped the spend, obviously, for treosulfan for the launch spend, so we're heading towards positive EBITDA again, and also on the cash side we're heading towards positive territory again, given that as the company is focusing on its base business, which Ken illustrated at the beginning, was profitable and generated positive cash. Yeah. This is just briefly the cap table. Nothing's changed much here. Obviously, the last few months we have analyst coverage here. We added Roth Capital on the US side, and we have continued interest to add more analysts to our portfolio.
Thank you, Marcel. Management, I'll point out here, we've got an excellent team. Everyone has come from much bigger companies and are capable of helping this company grow to be much larger. A very active board of directors, provides excellent input, a mix of experience in capital markets and pharma. So very pleased to have a very strong board. If you're looking for value drivers for investors, I mean, I think we would point to the resubmission of treosulfan in the US and subsequent approval, we hope. That has very strong revenue potential, would more than double our revenue once commercialized. Continued commercialization of existing portfolio, quarter to quarter, we expect to show revenue growth as the current portfolio responds to promotion and new product launches start to make a contribution. We continue to look for opportunities to build a portfolio. So we're not simply waiting for treosulfan. We are looking to build additional products, particularly in the US, where we can get a much broader portfolio and leverage the infrastructure that's already in place. TH, or triamcinolone hexacetonide, is one of those products where we do expect to file it in the US. And then finally, IXINITY. IXINITY is already doing well. We believe it will do better when we have the pediatric indication completed and in the label. So that will happen sometime next year in 2022. So that's the story. We're happy to take any questions that you might have.
Okay. All right. So now we're going to get to the informal question part of this. One thing I wanted to hit on for your presentation, you made mention on the announcement that you made on, I believe that was on December 2nd, about announcing the clear path to FDA decision following Medexus Type A meeting with FDA on treosulfan. Can you get into that a little bit more, what this means for the company and why this is significant?
Sure. I think we've said from the beginning that we were going to prepare a plan for resubmission as quickly as possible following the CRL. So we are executing on that. The Type A meeting was really important in that that was an opportunity to present the resubmission plan and get agreement to move towards resubmission. So we believe that we have that clear path for resubmission. We believe that we will do that at some time in the second quarter calendar. So it's coming up soon. And then the approval will take the decision will take 2 to 6 months following resubmission. So at the very outside, we would expect a decision from the FDA by October of next year, October 22.
I mean, is this a typical process for when you're looking to bring a drug online? How does that process normally work?
Yeah, this is the typical process. I mean, often the FDA will ask for additional information. The way they do it is through a CRL. In our case, it didn't require any additional clinical work. There's no new clinical trial or anything of that nature. It's just a matter of collecting data on patients who are already completed the clinical trial and formatting that for the agency in order for them to draw their own conclusions. And so it's really, that's the process that's going on. And once that is all compiled and formatted the way they want to see it, which is what was discussed at the Type A meeting, then the resubmission will go in and then they can make a decision.
Very good. All right. So you also mentioned that you're looking at various opportunities to potentially bring more products under the Medexus umbrella. I mean, what's, obviously from what you can tell us, but what's been out there that's looking interesting to you, what's some criteria that's meeting what you require to have within the Medexus family?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we're always working hard to build a portfolio. We've got commercial infrastructure that's already in place. So that's an attractive place for some of these companies to do business, in that they can get their products commercialized in the US or Canada, or hopefully both. And so we do have products that we're looking at now that would fit into our commercial infrastructure. So we're calling basically on the right targets. And that would make our company an attractive partner for some of these licensors. So we've got a couple of projects that are ongoing that we think will bring new opportunities to our business. And whenever we add new product to the top line, add new revenue to the top line, at a really strong gross margin, our gross margins in the 60+% range. Obviously, using the existing infrastructure causes a lot of that to drop to the bottom line. So it really leverages the infrastructure that we already have in place, which clearly helps produce positive EBITDA.
All right. So my last question then for you today is going into business development. Tell us where we're at there, some of the initiatives that you guys have planned for not just the rest of 2021, but going into 2022.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's a whole bunch of products that we've already got licensed, and we're working on bringing them to market. So that's critically important. And then it's these other products that I referred to. So as we close these deals, some of them are either on market or near to market. They will make an important contribution in the near future. So it's critically important for us to continue to do that in order to build a portfolio, in order to make the company much larger.
For sure. And my last question for you today, just to give the other side of the coin, I mean, is there any potential headwind or hurdles that prevents Medexus from reaching the goals that you aspire to get to?
There's always challenges in any business. I think that's why the management team has to be diligent and flexible, to address those issues. Obviously, the whole COVID pandemic has been a major headwind in many different areas. I think our business has been pretty strong in the face of that challenge, in that we have maintained our business. Our demand for our drugs is still really strong. And so, I think we've shown a lot of resilience through this period, which, is gratifying for me. It's certainly been a challenge in launching new products because access to physicians is challenging. So, if anything keeps me awake at night, it's, when are we going to get through this pandemic and, return to some type of normal environment whereby we can actually get out there and, promote more strongly some of the new drugs we have coming.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's a good place to end it. Ken, Marcel, where can we go and find more information on Medexus?
Yeah, I think everything that the investor might want can be found in the investor section of our website at medexus.com.
Very good. All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you so much for today's presentation. We really do appreciate it. And have a great rest of 2021 and look forward to seeing you guys in 2022.
Great to see you, Robert. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you.